Dang.
Panther Nation, the C3 podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com.
I had fun, man. Just out, you guys joking. We working at the same time. Putting the work in as a team. Like I said, I'm just glad to be with the guys.
My favorite night of the week.
We're going to go out there, and we're playing to win. We're not out here just to show up. We're out here to win.
I don't want guys that want to win. Because really, who doesn't? Nobody wants to win. Everybody wants to win. I want players that hate to lose.
Well, this embodies everything that we are as a team, as an organization. Our motto is keep pounding. And that's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what's up, Panther fans? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn. This is the C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Tonight's show is the training camp primer. Panthers showed up for camp today, and I'm here to talk about it with two of my favorite buddies. Mel Mayock, what's up, my man?
Hey, Tony, what's going on, man? Just another beautiful day here in the QC. And this is one of my favorite days of the year when players start moving into training camp, going into Wofford, all those pictures. It's pretty cool to see them bringing in mini refrigerators and big old TVs and pillows. It's a fun day.
Yeah,
it'll be a good show.
Joe Riolano here, raging, brother. How you doing, my man?
Sometimes raging literally, Tony. I'm good right now. Glad to be here tonight on the C3 podcast, getting ready to talk some Panthers football. Training camp today begins. It is the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see football players again, and we're about to have some football tomorrow when they kick off with the big practice at Wofford tomorrow night. And for all the fans, it's the big event to kick off training camp, and we can finally get to hear the sounds of football, see the sights of football, and get closer and closer. We're smelling it, so we can smell it. Guys, I want you to go ahead, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and smash that like button, share the show with the Panther friends. Help us grow Panther Nation together. Follow us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles, and check out the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher if you can't watch live, or on YouTube later, or on Facebook. Remember, give it a share. We would love to help. You could also consider donating to the show, and that would help to continue to grow this podcast even more throughout the season. Guys, let's go ahead and get into tonight's episode. And the players report for duty today. Corn Elder was the first to arrive. Samuel was dropped off by his mother. And Moten looked to have traveled light. So, but I think the biggest news comes with Greg Olsen, who showed up today. Greg Olsen made it to camp, questioning potential holdouts, but now Marty Hurney's the GM. You know that these guys are going to be excited to get the payday. Here's Greg Olsen's statement when he showed up and talked to the press. We thought obviously long and hard about everything the last couple of months, kind of our position, the team's position, how a lot of things played out. Obviously things changed a little bit last week with the move to let go of Dave Gettleman. At the end of the day, it really came down to everything going on. Obviously now with the transition to Marty, kind of the slight chaos that went around for another week, I didn't think that it was right to add fuel to that fire, make things that much more complicated, add any more distractions or controversies to our team. So he wants to be a leader. He wants to set an example, he goes on, and Thomas Davis as well joins him at camp today. So guys, how do you react to the Olsen, or what is there anything here to talk about?
Well, I mean, me personally, I would have been shocked if either one of them would have held out. I mean, you're not going to accomplish anything. These guys are towards the end of their career. I know they want to get their last paydays, and they deserve it. I would like to see some type of incentive-laden deal given to both of these guys, but we got to take care of other folks first. So it's just not the Panthers' way. It's not Thomas Davis. It's not Greg Olsen for them to have held out. So I would have been shocked had they done it, and today was exactly what I expected to happen as far as that goes.
Joe, Olsen, he's in a position where he needs to. This is, he's reaching that moment, that precipice, I guess you would say, where he won't be able to get paid much larger than he could right now. But he goes on and he pledges to play out his contract. So I think that was more of a statement of good faith to the Panthers organization, that he is confident that they're going to work out some sort of reworked extension at some time during the season or immediately after. Joe, do you think that will happen with Marty Hurney?
You smell that?
Yeah.
Smells like BS to me. A bunch of big bull hoop is what I smell. I think Greg Olsen merely hinted at holding out because Hurney was the GM and he was trying to leverage his position early.
You mean
he did that before. Hurney was.
You mean Gettleman?
Yes, thank you. Gettleman, because when Gettleman was in there, Olsen did have a question. Is this guy going to cut me? Or is he planning on bringing me back? That was his fear. So he started early with the I'm going to hold out talk, trying to set himself up. So, hey, look, put it on Gettleman. You're gonna rework my contract now, or, I'm going to hold out this season. For fear of, at the end of his contract, Gettleman would let him go. Was that the right thing to do? We don't know. We didn't get a chance to see. But I smell total BS on Olsen's part. Do I dislike Olsen for setting himself up like that, or sort of leveraging himself? No, I think it was the right move at the right time. But to say that thinking about things, and I think when he said because of events last week and letting Gettleman go, that's him being honest right there. But all the other stuff around it, teamwork and team leader, all that crap, I believe it matters to him, but that was secondary to Gettleman being in place. And once Gettleman was gone, Hurney comes in, and he knows that, okay, they're going to take care of me. I'm going to be all right. Then he can soften his position and change his stance. And look, I'm not berating the guy for it. I'm just saying I call BS because that's not how I see it.
So everybody out there in YouTube land, now you know why you never play poker with a freaking Puerto Rican. He can sniff it out. He can sniff a bluff out in a heartbeat.
Okay, well, I've got a little surprise for you, Joe, because a lot of things are broken with Joey. But but his sniffer may not be. All right. So here today, Bill Voth tweeted this out. And he tweeted this out this morning. Hopefully, and he's quoting Greg Olsen. Hopefully, we can keep talking, but in a more professional manner. Now he then deleted the tweet, guys. Right. And some people. One of our, I think this was at Brian Weezy, B Weezy. I gotta go look up the handle. He screenshotted the Bill Voth tweet and was able to preserve it. But the one thing he did question is why did no one else pick up this comment? If it, but Bill isn't a guy that really messes up, and he's usually more cautious than less. That would be interesting for him. That's an interesting tweet for him to type out by mistake.
Oh, completely. Yeah, he doesn't make mistakes like that. That's not vote-esque, if you will. So, yeah, I think there maybe is more to that than meets the eye there.
Yeah, I mean, the idea, more professionally, this suggests that
that's a shot. That's a shot at Gettleman.
Yeah, shots fired. This suggests that the old guy was playing rough. Now, we're not going to go back into the heated discussion that we had last week, but at the same time, there are some very important decisions to be made with this team moving forward, and for the longevity of the team. So we'll be watching those contracts closely. We'll be watching the play of these guys, and hopefully they got some good years ahead of them. So plenty to see coming forward. Also, let's see what else happened today. I think there was KB is where he needs to be, according to Ron Rivera, about his weight. Now, he said we're not going to talk numbers, but he's where he needs to be. But he did happen to mention that Cam was playing at a svelte 246 right now. And a lot of people are saying he's the lightest he's ever been. But how do you talk about Cam's weight so exactly, but you don't mention KB's? But I think it's good to hear that Kelvin Benjamin is on course, because we're going to really need that, Joey. Because Kelvin Benjamin, one thing we lack in our wide receiver group is experience. And Kelvin Benjamin actually has the most of it.
Yeah, well, that and, he's the biggest guy for sure. And that size is his greatest attribute. So, yeah, we definitely want him on the field. We need him the right weight to play. Because he can use his mass to box guys out, of course. But, yeah, it is important that he's out there. He is going to be looked to as the leader of this young core of receivers we have. And same goes, that'll be as much on the field as it will be in the classroom. The guys are going to look for him to show them what needs to be done in the classroom, watching film, that sort of stuff, route work, that sort of stuff. He's going to have a big role there. It's kind of scary in a way, isn't it?
Well, guys, I have a feeling. I got a feeling, and somebody pointed out in the chat room, I think it was Amanda Hamels just a minute ago, that there's 14 wide receivers on the training camp roster right now, which is amazing. I do get the feeling that somebody is going to step up and emerge as the next big star at the wide receiver position, and it's probably somebody that we are not talking a whole heck of a lot about.
And who is this person?
Well, I'm not 100% sure. It may be Shepard. It may be Ross.
He's not going to be a star. He's like 30 years old already.
But what I'm saying is somebody is going to break out and do something and be – I'm not saying they're going to be the next Steve Smith, but there's going to be somebody that's going to add juice to that unit, whether it's Shepard, it's Ross, Charles Johnson coming in. I'm just telling you, somebody aside from Benjamin and Funchess is going to step up, and maybe it's Curtis Samuel that we have been talking a decent amount about. But what I'm saying
Mel, let me bust your bubble right here. What happened?
Go ahead, hit the record button now, so we can play this back about halfway through the year.
I just want to let you know, news today: Panthers waive Ryan Dallaire and wide receiver Charles Johnson. So Charles Johnson.
So it's not going to be Charles. Not going to
be him. So I'm going to put that up there.
I was surprised about Dallaire because of how long he's been around, but that is Gettleman's guy. So at the same time,
these are both injury things too, guys. Both have had some surgeries, off-season surgeries, but you thought that they would at least get a little play on the roster or in training camp.
Yeah.
So just give you that one to burst your bubble there. But I'm actually very concerned with the wide receiver group.
Yeah.
And that the idea is that it's not real deep. And I don't know. There's not a lot of an experience there, so there's a lot of hope and optimism with all of those guys. I think that. Go ahead, Joe.
I was gonna say 14 is like a ridiculous number.
Isn't it?
You know what I mean? I think that's too many. I understand you're looking for somebody, but my God, you only have 90 men that you're allowed to bring to camp, and we're so thin. Right. So many other places. It'd be nice to have a few more maybe defensive backs or safeties, to be able to look at, because, we've got a decent starting group and maybe a little bit of depth at one or two positions, but as a whole, we're really thin back there.
There's 14 wide receivers.
That seems a little excessive.
All right,
now,
but here,
Panthers
listen to these names real quick of these wide receivers: Kelvin Benjamin, Brenton Burson, right? Kalen Clay.
He was the first at camp this year.
I thought it was Cornelder, but maybe he was the first photographed. Demir Bird, Austin Duke, Kieris Garrett, Devin Funchess, Trevor Graham, Cameron Posey, Fred Ross, Curtis Samuel, Russell Shepard. Russell Shepard is the oldest of the group, right?
From Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Special team prodigy, not prodigy, but ace.
He's
he's
5 years
make
into the league. 5 years into the league, yes, he'll make the team. We know that he's going to be.
So,
I'm looking forward to seeing what Bird can do this year.
I do. That's the guy that I think makes the team. But my thing is that's putting a lot on Devin Funchess. Well, you know what? It's Devin Funchess' time. You know, and this is his year. Now, I will point out that I went back and looked at old Marty Hurney rosters from way back in the day, and he does carry more receivers generally than Dave Gettleman did. And that is that you saw Marty Hurney go into a lot of camps with 6 wideouts. One year Steve Smith was hurt. They went in to the season with 7 wide receivers. But you got to think, man, there's no way that Shepard is only 26 years old, Jacques. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
He played in Tampa for like 5 years.
If you said he's 5 years in the league, that would make sense.
Yeah, he's been in Tampa at least like 5 years.
My money's on Shaq.
Yeah, he is. He's only 26. 1990. Wow.
All right, now, so maybe that's a prediction. Put it down. He's going to sizzle this year, guys. Out of the
I'm just worried here because a lot of these names lack any experience. You're talking about Austin Duke, who a lot of people love to hear that. He's going to be the name that everybody likes because he's the Charlotte kid. You've got also Fred Ross, who's going to be the hot name. I think the guy to watch to make this team other than Bird obviously Russell Shepard, I think it's Kieris Garrett. I think he plays tough. I think he plays physical. And I think that's the one thing that Funchess and even Benjamin don't do all the time. So, but there is a concern here that there's just a lack of experience. And it's not even experience. We just haven't seen much of any of these guys, really. So that's kind of weird to me.
And to put another twist on it, with Cam not throwing this offseason, he hasn't had a whole lot of time to build some chemistry with these guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the preseason games. If Cam is playing.
Here's Ron Rivera on the wide receivers.
And as we go through this, I thought we did a nice job in the draft. I thought in free agency we found a couple of guys that we think can fit. And probably the biggest thing more so than anything else is, as we look at it, is going to be the development of the guys that we have on the roster right now. Getting Kelvin back to form, having Funchess take the next step, and then seeing which of those other young guys we have steps up. So it'll be an interesting challenge.
So what I'm interested in this, too, is who establishes themselves as a number 2 receiver behind Kelvin Benjamin, and can someone firmly secure that spot? I think it's too much to ask a Curtis Samuel in his rookie year, or I think that would be overly I think you're going to be let down if you believe that he's going to be able to walk in and just firmly be the number 2. Maybe it's the case, but one of the things that if you go back to the Hurney era, you got to think he's going to have some limited patience here, guys, because he could never find a number 2 wide receiver after Moose, and Moose wasn't his guy.
That's true. He tried through the draft.
Yeah, Dwayne Jarrett. You're thinking Dwayne Jarrett. There was the Kerry Colbert. There's a lot of names that even Brandon LaFell, and Brandon LaFell may have been the best out of all those dudes. So that's interesting.
No, I think you're right. I think it can't be. We can't expect that from Samuel. We can expect some maybe some flashy highlights of the kid over the season, but he's not going to supplant anybody that's there now. So it's going to have to be Funchess. I suppose Garrett's been around this team every training camp for what, like 3 seasons now? Maybe 4 seasons?
Who's that?
Is that right? Garrett? Cheers, Garrett.
No,
last year
he
was a rookie.
Just last year was his first year. See, and that's why I think too many people are giving up on him already. And Carlton Cohen in the YouTube chat says Garrett is done. I had some people kind of laugh me off Twitter on that one today. Cody Lackney says, I disagree. I think Curtis Samuel has the highest ceiling out of any receiver on our team now. Now, I do think that's true in some ways. Yeah. As I think he could be a Brandon Cooks type receiver. But, I just feel like, I feel like we've been a little spoiled in the last couple of years when it comes to rookies in the league making the type of impact they have. And I think that kind of Mike Evans, Odell Beckham, that Kelvin Benjamin year really just blew our expectations out of the water in that. Maybe I'll be wrong, and I hope so. And that'll be interesting because, like Gettleman said, it's going to be the type of player they're interested in using. So they really, I think, hopefully they ate a little crow last year and decided it's time to change the speed, and to get more athletic and to just have some guys that if you get the ball in their hands, they can do something. And we just know that with Funchess and with Benjamin, after the catch, there's 0 yards. And you can go ahead and throw that down for Greg too, really, unless he's wide open. And that's to be expected from a tight end. So we do need some of that versatility.
So what guys are out there now? Craig Schneider just asked us on Twitter, asked if Anquan Bolden is still out there, and he is. He visited the Bills recently and left without a deal. Yeah. Do you think it's wise, guys, to keep an eye on some of the vets? I don't know if Cruz is still out there. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a little.
Cruz got signed with the Jags.
No, Victor Cruz, I think either signed with maybe the Bears or something. I think it was the Bears. I'm trying to think of who else is that. Anquan Bolden is one. Megatron, bro.
Let's bring Randy Moss in. Let's sign Calvin Johnson and Randy Moss and just have a great time.
You don't want to get too old. You don't want to get just so you have a guy.
I'm playing.
No, when I say Megatron or or even Anquan Bolden, that may be a little too old. That's a good question. What is that? Some sort of, is there a guy even available? And did we not maybe prioritize that enough? Russell Shepard, we got to see how Hurney and Rivera feel about him. And we got to hope on Curtis Samuel. Let's keep going and talk about now. It turns out Matt Khalil may not be ready or Ryan Khalil may not be. He's not a go for camp and to be full on. But his brother, here's Rivera on Matt Khalil.
Well, I think it'll help Matt an awful lot. Probably the biggest thing that's going to help Matt, though, is he's healthy. He had the off-season surgery a year ago. He's done a great job with his rehab. He's really assimilated nicely to the way we do things. I think he's taken a real good shine, as you mentioned, to Coach Matsko and to Coach Brown. I think those guys have been really good for him, as has Travell. Travell Wharton's here working with us as well, and he's in the minority coaching program. And so I think those guys really are going to be really good for him. I think having Ryan and get an opportunity to play with him for the first time, I think that would be a novel experience, kind of a neat experience for him. So I think the guy can really bounce back well, and a lot of it has to do with just the hard work he's put in.
So, we got Khalil. We need Ryan Khalil to be healthy. I think he's coming off a shoulder surgery. They're going to rest him. He doesn't need a lot of work in camp. We signed an extra center today when we let those two guys go, so to get a body in there that can do that. Again, this is a question of depth. Now Michael Orr is officially not coming back. We need our guys to be healthy and to keep going on the offensive line. I mean, Matt Khalil hopefully playing at what the healthiest he has been in some time. Rivera speaking highly of that. But good news, guys, Trey Turner will be in Carolina for the next 4 years. I think since we had the show last that the Panthers extended him on really Hurney's first day on the job, and they give him he got a $45 million contract with $23 million guaranteed. he makes him the second highest paid right guard. But when you really look at the details of the contract, overall, he is paid in the top ranks of right guard position, and he's the second highest paid. But the good news, guys, is Trey Turner is proven already, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1 time as an alternate, but he's only 24 years old, fellas. 24 years old, made the Pro Bowl already. The other guys that are pulling in that type of money are like 28. So I think this is good news for everybody. The Carolina Panthers get a nice young player, right? And they secure him for 4 years. He also not only gets a very respectable deal, but also that he has an opportunity to sign a 3rd NFL contract by the time he's 28. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, that's so very true. And you watch him play, man, he is just a monster in pass protection. And then in the Panther scheme, Coach Rivera was talking about that right guard really has to be your second best pass blocking lineman on the line. And so, I mean, he's blocking guys like Gerald McCoy who are going to line up off the guard and try to get at the quarterback. So it was vital keeping him. Now, it'll be yet to be seen with that type of money. That was $11 million a year. That's a lot of money for a guard. I think he's the 3rd highest guard in the league, something like that, which deserved. You don't let Pro Bowlers go. But are we going to be able to keep Norwell now? I mean, that's probably the decision we're going to have to make.
Right. I think, great move by Hurney. Talk about, making a smart decision your first day in the office, getting off to a hot start. That's the way to do it. Trey Turner is at the top of his game now and will continue to be for the foreseeable future. Guards tend to play a really long time in the NFL if they're able to stay healthy. They can play a long time along the offensive line. And he's looking like he could be one of those guys potentially. Not only that, but really I think he's, I see him one day as being kind of the anchor to that offensive line.
Yeah.
By not playing center, he will be the anchor to that offensive line. So great job, Hurney, with that signing, undoubtedly. Norwell is his counterpart there at the guard spot on the other side, and he's been a real force. It'd be nice if we could get them both. I think Norwell has to realize that, he's not quite the player that Turner is. He's good and, in his own right, for sure. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I think Turner is, just one of those rare breeds, just, when somebody's just better than you are. So you can't expect comparable money, is my point.
See, that's like us here on the C3 podcast. I know I'm not near as good as a freaking Puerto Rican, so I'm not going to pull down the coin that you do for this show. So it's just the way it goes. I'm just happy to be here, man.
I think it was interesting to see that, what Rivera did say about Norwell and how their blocking scheme. I mean, I guess you run more to – well, actually what he was saying is that the defensive tackle that lines up against the right guard is generally better than the defensive tackle that lines up against the left guard. Now, I don't know how much of this is trying to temper Norwell's demand for, a big payday. It's going to be hard to pay everybody that top rate money, obviously. And I don't know. And Norwell's been good, but I don't know and he is good, but,
you got to make a decision. He's probably at the end of the line.
Yeah. And, and you're going to start looking to see, hopefully, if you can get away with Moton and Darrell Williams for a little while, you might be able to give him a solid deal, something that's good but not fantastic. And he likes to stay and play with the guys. It depends on if he likes where he's at and the type of things.
And what kind of other offers he may be having to entertain.
Yeah. Michael King on Facebook Live says that – Trey Turner's only going to get better, right? And I think
undoubtedly.
And I agree with that. All right, so last kind of topic guys, Cam Newton, he threw with the wide receivers in Baltimore. Funchess was the only one. I just saw that from Lynn, who could not make it. because of some sort of personal conflict. But here's Ron Rivera talking about Cam Newton and what their plan is for him.
Cam will do what he's slated to do. He's still working with RV and the doctors, and he had a good week last week from what I understand. So I'm excited to see him tomorrow in action.
So then he goes on to say, "What's the plan?" And he said, "I don't really know." I thought it was funny. It's just like total coach speak. We're just going to play it day to day.
He's going to do what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's Cam Newton is basically what he said. So I think now, guys, the last comment I want to talk about, and this is from Rivera, and he was asked what he's going to be looking for in this first week out of his players. And let's see if we can build on this for a moment.
I think for the young guys, it's going to be really about their development. What steps have they taken in terms of going forward, and what's their retention? I think for the veteran guys, it's just how quickly they get into sync with one another. I'm excited to see the first group get an opportunity to work together, especially on the offensive side. And that's probably one of the bigger things that we'll see is just how everything meshes in terms of the new players, the core group of guys getting together. Again, as I said, for the first time, especially on the offense.
So, I think Rivera's mentioned this in the past. One of the things that they're really looking for out of those rookies, right, is how they retain the information that they were given in that rookie OTA, that rookie mini camp, and then the OTAs, and how they can translate that into training camp. Now, I've talked to a lot, or I haven't talked, I've read a lot from early players or younger players, Funchess being one, Kieris Garrett being another. And these younger guys have continued to talk about how difficult adjusting to the pro style of practice, and how complicated of a jump this is. So I think what we're going to see right away is that the coaching staff is going to zero in on that, and they're going to be looking at those guys. I think that you're going to see them trying to preserve the elder statesmen like the Julius Peppers, the Thomas Davises, and the Greg Olsons. There's no need to work those guys no need to work those guys too hard. And I'm interested, do you think that how much do you guys think we'll really learn about McCaffrey in training camp?
I was thinking about McCaffrey today, and I think Gettleman did a brilliant pick there. We've talked about this ad nauseum, but one thing that Gettleman did point out about him is he thinks he's just a great runner in between the tackles. He's very instinctive. To me, watching him, he reminds me of a Le'Veon Bell type of running back where he's real patient, hits the holes. But I think the key for him and what I'm looking for, which is going to determine if he gets on the field and how much and in what situations, is can he block? Can he pick up the blitz? Can he handle a 250-pound linebacker coming up the middle? Is he going to protect Cam Newton? Because that is at a premium. If Jonathan Stewart's one of the best pass blockers in the league at running back, and if McCaffrey can't pick that up and show that in training camp, he won't get on the field very much, except for on plays where he's maybe hitting the slot.
Do you think the Panthers have been overly cautious with that though? In the past, is that I feel like they have not really given a real opportunity to young running backs, and they continue to say that that's the issue, right?
Cameron Artis-Payne just said, "Tell it, brother, tell it."
Right. But I mean, even the limited capacity that Fozzie Whitaker has played, there has been a very limited. Even like going back to that year that Jonathan Stewart was hurt, but D'Angelo Williams was healthy. There were some other guys back there that we thought could have contributed a little bit more, and that was the same story. There's also been some of the story when it comes to these fullbacks and why they haven't translated, and why they, I guess, stuck with Tolbert, who couldn't block anything. I wonder if they've been slightly overly cautious with that. And, I mean, at the same time, he's a number 1 draft pick. He's a top, what did we pick, 8? He's a top 10 pick. This guy has to be on the field. You cannot just overly baby these guys. I want to see Stewart and McCaffrey out there all at the same, and both at the same time. And what I would really love to see is for Cam Newton. This is what I think is going to happen, or I hope happens. And I don't think we'll see it in the preseason. I don't think we'll see it until maybe like week 4, and it'll be like surprise. And that is you line You get Olsen on the line on the left side beside the left tackle. You get Cam and Stewart who run that read run option, whatever it's called, so well together. You get everybody moving left, Cam and Stewart going left, and you have McCaffrey in the backfield too going right, and then you just dump it off to the right side to McCaffrey, and you line him up one-on-one with a linebacker and see what you get. Because if you get everybody moving left, you're going to get that. Would it be, Joey, who plays, what linebacker is going to play on the right tackle side of the field? Is that the strong side linebacker?
Strong side is when you get the side of the tight end.
Linebacker, that would be the will linebacker, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your strong side linebacker is the one lined up on the side with the tight end.
Wherever the tight end is at. So it could be, so it doesn't matter. It's just where the tight end lines up is what determines who is the strong side or the weak side.
Right.
I think you get some guys and you get some misdirection, and you got to create some space that way for these guys.
Yeah.
And I think you can do some things like that with Samuel too. But the question is, will Shula do this? And I do think that he is creative enough to get involved to do this. He has shown that in 2015 he was a great play caller. He threw in a lot of wrinkles. So, and you know what? Both of these guys, their jobs are on the line. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Shula's job is on the line this year. Yeah. And I even think Ron Rivera's job could be on the line. And I feel like there's a kind of tension surrounding him. I think he felt a little overconfident last year, maybe, and he's been humbled about it.
I guarantee you, if we go 6-10 again, and a new GM comes in, he's definitely gone. He's on a short leash, but I don't anticipate that. I think this team, if healthy, I mean, Scott Fowler from the Charlotte Observer tweeted out today, it's an awful lot of talent walking into Wofford. If we stay healthy, this is going to be a good team.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring back a little surprise for you guys.
Good day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
No, I'm just getting warmed up. Here's Charlie facing the fire, and there's George hiding in Big Daddy's pocket.
Because I spit hot fire.
Like a flamethrower to this place.
What's hot on C3?
I missed that. I have missed that, man.
I shortened it up a hair. It's still long. But tell me, what's hot on C3 these days?
Well, there's been a lot of good articles out there. If you haven't been out there lately, those of you listening, what you been waiting for, man? CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Go check it out every day. And if you want your voice heard, you can put your article up out there. Just let us know. We had a listener not long ago email us a story that went up there. Joey had a great story about the offensive line and the keys to success recently, but I just put one up out there that's been getting some good traction and good response, talking about the 5 keys that I'm looking for at training camp. And then a lot of people gave their thoughts to it too. So.
Tell us some of those keys.
Well, some of the things that I'm looking for is Cam Newton's shoulder, right? Because this team really goes as far as Cam Newton takes us. Let's face it. Everything's got to be built around protecting and giving weapons to Cam Newton. So if that shoulder is not right, we're in trouble. But I think he's going to be in good shape. But I pointed out, I think, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, I wouldn't play Cam Newton in the preseason. I just wouldn't.
Zero. Zilch. I don't need to play.
Good.
I don't need to play Cam Newton at all until week 1. I mean, I don't even really. I mean, I guess you do want him working in training camp, but I think you got to treat him with kid gloves. Because he doesn't know how to do that for himself, it doesn't seem all that well.
Right. And you don't want Jadeveon Clowney in the week 1 of preseason football going after the whistle and taking a shot at Cam Newton, because that's been the MO, and he wants to get the season started right, and all of a sudden you hurt his shoulder, and boom, in a meaningless game, our season's over.
Maybe you could run him out there for a quarter in the 3rd week.
Very limited.
Right. Do that, or at least a dozen plays, or 10 plays, something.
Yeah. Get the rust off, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, gotta put him in for some live bullets for a little bit. Don't we play the Patriots that week?
What week?
Week 3.
3 of the preseason.
I don't. No, we play them. We play them during the regular season.
All right. Is it the
week 3 is the Jags? The
Jags?
Jaguars.
Yeah, I think we can take him and put him out there for like a quarter, and just let him get the.
That would be the most. That would be the most.
Around. Yeah. We don't need to play him in every game. That's pointless.
Kind of the same with Luke Kuechly. I give him about a quarter, maybe 2 of action.
Yeah. I don't need to see a lot. And also, just to remind a lot, is that I think that third preseason game, one quarter, because what we've seen is really that in games 1 and 2 and 4, they don't play him at all. But in 1 and 2, I feel like they've played him less and less throughout the years. Not him, but just even the starters in general in Carolina. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I think, but good news, like Cody Lackney pointed out, he asked, have you seen how much weight Cam's lost? He's looking lean. He is looking svelte. So that's exciting. Mel, what else are you looking for at training camp?
Well, I'm also looking at Matt Khalil, seeing how he's looking, right? Mm-hmm. Because let's face it, if we suck on the offensive line again this year, we'll be 6-10 again, and it's going to be just brutal. So that free agent signing has to work. So I'm looking to see how he's looking. Is he looking healthy? Is he looking confident? Is he able to pick up? Is he able to pass off blockers and pick up the right men on zone blitzes and things like that? I think that's a big key. That's another major thing that I'm looking for. We
don't need him to be spectacular Pro Bowl, caliber player. We need him to be better than Remmers was. We just need him
to be a top 10, top 15, kind of like Orr was in 15, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need him. We don't need him to be spectacular. We need him to be good, but we really could use spectacular. Couldn't we?
Oh, if he's going to be spectacular, the sky's the limit.
That's what we need. If we get spectacular offensive line play, I'm telling you, Cam is far better than anybody gives him credit to as a passer. And what he does, though, is he's a momentum player. And if he can get some early momentum in games, he can kill you. But if he feels under duress, it's not that he doesn't, and you don't even see it. You don't even see it in the decision making. It's almost just something like a wet blanket is dropped over him a little bit.
Right.
And so he's not making poor decisions necessarily. It's just you can see it has some sort of effect. But if you give him time and he starts connecting, he can be surgical.
And with this, sorry, Mel, to jump all over.
No, jump, baby. Go ahead.
If we're really talking about evolving as an offense and transitioning from the hold it, go deep. Mm-hmm. Sort of offensive doctrine we've been running in the past, and we're going to those shorter throws, get the ball out quick, misdirection.
Right.
Cam, if he's able to, adjust and complete those passes, that's going to be that momentum, that early success that he seems to thrive on when he has success early in the game. It sort of builds over the course of the whole game, and eventually it's coming to a head where he is play action passing, hitting a guy, 60 yards downfield for a touchdown. He's dabbing, he's high-fiving, he's dancing. That's what we need to see. And with the short routes, quick routes, get the guy the ball in space and let him work it, then we've got that chance.
I am so anxious to hear I'm so anxious to see if Cam is able to do that. I know he can do it, but he likes that big play, man. Is he going to sit there? Is he going to hold it, or is he going to boom, 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 and throw it over the linebacker and before the safety and hit Samuel coming across the middle? That's going to be the difference in the season. So.
I think Carl Van on Facebook says Matt Khalil needs to be much better than Remmers with all that scratch he just picked up.
Yes.
And he does. He needs to be better than Michael Orr. But I think, too, this is that if you look at the type of offense and Bill Voth said this several years ago. This was going into the 2014 season when we had Bill Voth on the show. and he said Mike Shula's offense is predicated on things going well. Now, I know all offenses should be predicated on, like, when you call the plays, people executing, but it's not. There's a lot of throws that you're asking Cam Newton to make that are low percentage throws. And so I do feel we've seen that Keon Fahey, the Irishman or Scotsman who talks on who all of a sudden has skyrocketed popularity, and he's about assessing quarterbacks. He's been a Cam Newton fan, and he did something breaking down Cam Newton. If you look at the type of throws he's making and you look at the completion percentage in different types of capacities of throws, that he is better than just the passes completed. But he does have to learn how to, and our offense has got to change a little bit to give him some more options. We didn't have the speed to do it. So I do think you see Cam Newton's completion percentage go up, but there's nobody in the biz that really throws the deep ball better than him. You know, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, you know, those guys are locked in downfield, but Cam Newton can put it on the money downfield. So if you can get him some linebackers stepping up a little bit more and forcing them to do some different things and play action actually working, Cam Newton can kill him. All right, Mel, what else are you looking for?
Another big thing is the impact of the timeless and ageless Julius Peppers. I'm really looking to see, you know, who's going to get the playing time at the defensive end spots. Is he going to be starting? And are they going to get creative? Are they going to do something? I mean, I put this in the article. Imagine this: 3rd and 12, Matt Ryan, or Meg Ryan, as we like to call him, at quarterback, and you got Julius Peppers on one side. You got healthy, hopefully, Charles Johnson on the other side. You got Mario Addison on one side, Charles Johnson on the other. On the inside, you've got KK Short and Julius Peppers. That would be a beastful pass rush.
Be interesting. Joe, I think Julius Peppers pushes Charles Johnson to the sideline a little bit more than usual this year.
I think you're right. I think Peppers and Addison will probably be the two starters come opening Sunday. At the same time, it'll be better for Charles Johnson, I think. That means he'll come in more situationally. Yeah. He'll be much fresher.
Yeah.
And when he does come in, he has a potential to make an impact play. So,
I'm also preserve his non-existent hamstrings.
Right. I'm hoping that's exactly how it'll work out.
I just feel like Julius Peppers is a lot healthier than Charles Johnson is. He's better, and I think Mario Addison, too, is ready to step into a more, instead of just being a situational pass rusher, to being more of an every down pass rusher. Now, to throw this out there, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of flack from people, I'll be interested to see on 3rd down if we tried out there Vernon Butler and KK in the middle. Now, a lot of people, if you go on do not believe that you'll be seeing Vernon Butler and KK on the field that often, because they keep saying that Starr is the one technique defensive tackle. He's the run stopper.
But on 3rd and long, that you bring up a great point. 3rd and long, when you got to get after the pass rusher and you're not that worried about the run, makes sense.
Yeah. I think, too, one other thing to underestimate, or I don't know, I just feel like sometimes we try to be such armchair people, armchair quarterbacks or coaches, that why is it that Vernon Butler, who's bigger than KK Short, can't learn how to play that position as well? You know, and and I'm not saying he replaces him.
And saying, you know, in situations you can do that. You're not going to want to run out there and have that line up every single down. You know, you don't want, you know, Starr he's a big dude. He plays that position. He's played that position for a long time. And it's basically just, you're a big man. You're going to take on a couple guys and eat up their blood. That's
you're
really
a fire hydrant.
Really.
Right,
Where
so
with Butler, he's got the mobility and the speed and the lateral quickness to get around and make a play.
You don't want to waste that speed.
He's heavier, though, than Starr. Look, Owen Silver says we should trade Starr. You know, it's going to be hard to give him big-time money when you just gave it to KK. Slim J513 says, question for the panel. If the Panthers do well, How would you feel if Gettleman was promoted to team president? I wouldn't. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Gettleman?
It's never going to happen. I
wonder if he meant. I wonder if he meant Marty Hurney there.
Yeah.
I wonder if
he might. That probably did.
Now that would be interesting. Keep him in the family, but bring in a pure football guy on the GM side. That's an interesting thought. If he meant Hurney there.
I think Hurney, he's got those roots in Charlotte, the radio station, some different things like that. All right, Mel, what's the last thing you're looking for?
Well, the last thing I put in there is what activity is going to be done contract signing wise. I mean, to me, I would forever be a Hurney guy. I will print a Hurney T-shirt and wear it proudly at Bank of America Stadium if he goes out and signs Gary Barnidge and brings him into the fold. You know, is Marty going to go out and make a signing like that? That's it. And signings in general. What's Hurney going to be doing during training camps? Another thing I'm really interested in because, hey, he's got a lot of power right now.
He did mean Marty Hurney. That makes sense. I could see that a lot. You know, just other news, I guess, related to Marty Hurney is he fired his first guy too, guys. He fired Mark Kuntz, who was Joey. He's a longtime person.
Well, yeah, he was a longtime director of scouting or something along those lines.
Scouting
and was in May.
Started out as an intern.
Was promoted to director of player personnel or pro personnel, something like that, which was a nice promotion from Gettleman. But Hurney came in and ripped the carpet right out from under him. And the thing that bothers me with it is Hurney knew the guy from first time when Hurney was here last time because Kuntz was here since the very beginning. I think 1994 he was an intern.
Yeah.
With the organization right at their foundation. So
hey, Marty said he wasn't going to be as sentimental this time around.
Yeah, and you attested earlier that may have been the point, but it seems just like a really crappy thing to do when we're we have so many unfilled front office positions.
Yeah,
we don't have a team president. We're missing other guys, and we don't have an assistant GM. So you would think somebody that's been there from the beginning should hang around at least a little while.
Yeah, like knows where the bathroom's at.
Definitely that.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
I mean, I think too. I think this is Hurney secretly eliminating any competition, any internal competition for the position. All right, things, guys. Joe, the thing that I'm going to be interested in looking at in training camp is how Daryl Worley, how he performs. I think there's been a lot of optimism surrounding the two young corners, but they have only played one season. So I'd like to see, we don't really have much outside of those guys. I know we can move Captain Munnerlyn to a different place. We could hopefully promote Corn Elder if needed. But again, we need these pieces to work. And another thing I'm interested in is how does that safety position work out? I do feel like we're okay with our starters, but if anything happens to those, we need Dean Marlowe to be healthy this year. And, outside of Kurt Coleman, Mike Adams, and Dean Marlowe, we don't even really know what he can do. It's just all hype that we've heard or fan love. So that's a big question mark for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got a surprise for everybody, and I'm gonna put a little bumper vid out. The C3 Fantasy Football Challenge is where Panther fans and fantasy football come together. The top prize is $300 in a Christian McCaffrey jersey. Second place takes home $75 in a Kevin Green autographed Hall of Fame commemorative football, and third place wins $50 in an autographed Kelvin Benjamin mini helmet. That's not all though. With over $1,000 worth of prizes, cash, and Panthers fan memorabilia, this is the league where everybody is a winner. There are 48 teams in the Fantasy Football Challenge. Holy Sam Mills, wait a minute. It's not that scary. You're really a player in a normal 12-team PPR fantasy football league, where the top 3 teams of each league advance to the C3 Super Bracket. 12 playoff teams then battle it out for the big cash, the McCaffrey jersey, and more Panther memorabilia. So don't think of it as one team among 48. You're just a player in the 12-team league that needs to make the top 3. All these leagues are named after a Panther legend, by the way. Even if you don't make the top 3 of your fantasy league, you still have plenty of opportunities to win prizes, like this Luke Kuechly plaque and other Panther gear. Weekly prizes are given out for all types of achievements, like highest scoring team in the league, and even in one week, the team with the lowest scoring amount of points wins a prize. That's the 2001 Panthers commemorative prize for those that remember that god-awful season. There are 2 ways to play the C3 Fantasy Football League. There's the $30 standard entry, which gets you a team in the league, a C3 Fantasy Football Guide, chances to win weekly prizes, the big money, that Christian McCaffrey jersey, and that autographed Kevin Green football and Kelvin Benjamin mini helmet. The best way to play the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge, however, is the premium package. For $42 plus shipping, you get a standard entry, a Put It in the Bank t-shirt, a Cam Wow, a digital download of the 2004 NFC Championship game between the Panthers and Eagles, and entered into a raffle for an autographed Thomas Davis football, an autographed Dan Morgan football, and a Luke Kuechly jersey, which will be raffled off on Selection Tuesday, the night the draft order is announced. The Put It in the Bank shirt alone is an $18.99 value. The sweet gear is worth it alone, but the chance to win this Panther memorabilia makes the premium package a no-brainer. Extra charges for all t-shirt sizes above extra large will apply. So what are you waiting for? Enter the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge now. Slots are limited, so don't miss out on the only fantasy football league exclusively for Panther fans. Guys, that's the bumper vid, a little teaser for the C3 Fantasy Football League, which we are trying to unveil this Friday. Guys, with a lot of help from Legacy Line Lens. Lynn is fantastic in helping us with that Put It in the Bank shirt. You know, it's time to put that Lombardi in Bank of America. I'm excited about that. But, guys, the prizes this year are insane. She said it on YouTube. This just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. We're raffling off all types of sweet gear. Thomas Davis autographed football, Dan Morgan autographed football, Luke Kuechly jersey, and then that, you know, that coveted championship prize of $300 and the Christian McCaffrey jersey. You really can't beat this fantasy football league. And on top of that, you know who you play with each and every week, Mel?
Who's that?
Panther fans.
Only Panther fans. There you go. I love this league, man. It is so fun every week. And my favorite show of the year is the show where we unveil the names.
Yeah, where we do the raffle and where we pull all the names from the hat and get to read all the great names. And we'll have some good ones. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Gettleman references this year. So I'm excited. The Fantasy Football League is going to be on point, fellas. I'm excited about that. All right, I did a lot of pre-work. By the way, Joe, what'd you think of that video?
It was nice, man. You put it together, and it was perfect for what we do. It was perfect. You nailed it, dude.
You come out there. I feel like running. I mean, I feel like it pumps me up. Like I get
a hype video.
Oh yeah, I'm hyped. All right, so I do have another surprise. Today is the throwback show, and I wanted to hit you guys with a little.
Joe segment.
All right, it is one of our old school segments, Fact or Fiction, often confused with Backdoor Friction. And you know what? Take it. You can, whichever one's your fancy, you can take. All right, I just want to ask this: Fact or Fiction? Daryl Williams will be the starter for the 2017 season at right tackle. Fact. All right. So Moten is going to come in and play as a backup role, according to Joe. Mel, fact or fiction?
That's a fact. I think Moten's going to be a key part of that offensive line, just not this year. Okay. You know, there's a lot of talent on there, and I think this is Daryl Williams' time to shine.
I hope so. I hope that's good. You know, I think that's a good thing if that's the case.
Yeah.
If Daryl Williams is the starter, I think that means that the Carolina Panthers offensive line is better than, you know, and that's not a referendum on Moten. I think that's saying this is that you got a guy going into his third season, hindered by injuries his rookie year. not able to beat out Remmers or in that second year. And then last year, again, injury. What we need is a healthy season from Darrell Williams. But given that it could be fiction, and it might not be because Darrell Williams is not playing well. I mean, he has tended to get banged up. So, all right, that's really about all we got for the C3 Fantasy Football show. I mean, the C3 Fantasy Football show. Look, I already got it on the brain.
You got it on the brain, man. I hear you.
We do have our favorite and final segment to hit up, and that is we got to do our ice up picks, fellas. And tonight, Mel, Joe, who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I've already got mine. I've already talked about it. You know, I wish we got some reason. I didn't hear anyway as to why Toombs was let go. I think with our as much sort of uncertainty as we've had with the front office here recently and the upheaval, people moving around and people leaving jobs, I think to terminate somebody that's been with the organization since its inception, really, over, you know, what, I don't know, trying to make sure everybody knows you're the big boss man or something like that. It seems ill-timed, if nothing else. So I am icing up Marty Hurney for that. We don't know the reason, and maybe we'll never find out. Maybe, you know, it's a personal thing, but we'll never know. I wish we did, but since we're not going to know, we never find out. I'm icing him up because I think we just need the stability. People who are there that have been there need to be there at least to get us through this season, and then maybe we can reassess. So I saw Marty Hurney, and you know I've been wanting to do that since last week.
I saw. All right,
I'm totally shocked, Joe.
All right. Couple of comments. I want to jump in here. Shout out to Melissa Patterson Lang. Thanks for watching on Facebook Live. Lynn likes the old school ice up graphic. It's been hidden. When we used to do an ice up, I think we used to do a segment on I used to put them out afterwards in shortened videos, and this was the old graphic for it. And Josh Dubrell says Butker, no Gano this year, and a lot of people are highlighting that. I think those are some things to think about. But
that's
remember,
a great point.
Hurney and Gano. Gano is Hurney guy, or Hurney is a Gano guy, whatever. Gano is a Hurney guy that he brought in, but I don't think there's a lot of love and necessarily close, tight ties with Graham Gano because Michael Hurney brought Hurney, whatever his name is, Marty Hurney brought him in at some point. It would be interesting to see if Butker could.
That is an interesting thing to watch. Yeah.
Don't forget a lot of questions to be answered on the special teams, whether it be kicker, field goal kicker, punter with Andy Lee, also the guy that we had last year who was pretty good, and then also you got to be watching to see who is the punt returner. That's where that Kellen Clay guy is brought in, not necessarily as a wide receiver, but as a return man, and we got to see if Bird can get into there. All right, Mel, hit us up with your ice up pick.
All right. Well, hey, this goes out to a guy that is probably going to have to change his name after this week. So, yeah, I'm only going to talk about half of the unlucky things that happened to now unlucky Whitehead. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he's a ECU grad, correct?
Yes. No.
Yep.
No.
Lucky Whitehead. Oh, I thought he was. So.
No, I wasn't even paying attention. You caught me sleeping, Mel.
Well, I'm only going to talk about half the story for Lucky Whitehead, the Dallas Cowboy, who earlier this week, and I got to really feel for the guy, man. I mean, just think about how bad this is. He was out on the town, and all of a sudden, somebody breaks into his house and steals his dog. So he comes home, and his dog is gone, and he posts on Twitter, and this becomes a Twitter phenomenon that Lucky Whitehead's dog has been stolen. And it turns out at 10 o'clock that night, you ever heard of the rapper? I know you guys are more into rap than I am. You ever heard of the rapper Boogity Casino?
I have not.
That's who I'm icing up tonight. Because Boogity
that's Casino, the guy that found him. I heard about this.
No. Found him.
Stolen.
He's asking $20,000 to give the dog back. That sounds like a ransom to me.
Yeah,
and what he says is, I didn't steal him. I bought the dog, and I found out it's Lucky Whitehead's dog, and I just want to get reimbursed for what I paid for the dog. That's it. I'm not asking for a ransom.
$20,000 for a dog.
Right. Thank you.
That for 1 minute.
I mean, how stupid is that? I'm not asking for a ransom. I just want to be reimbursed for the $20,000 check I wrote to some guy for that dog. Yeah. So, man, I mean, that was just the start of a bad week, but I won't get into the rest of it. But to you, Boogity Casino, I like the name, but you need to ice up with that I didn't steal him line.
All right.
Ice up, Boogity.
To continue in that vein, my ice up pick is another. Lucky Whitehead has got more talk on this show tonight than he will ever get, probably. Lucky Whitehead was particularly unlucky this week when he was cut from the Dallas Cowboys after being charged supposedly with larceny, theft, and stealing, which, by the way, is not outside of the realm of reality
right in Dallas.
when it comes to Dallas. Remember the guy? There was another player that was always stealing and getting in trouble. What you got, though, is the Cowboys come out and immediately cut Lucky Whitehead because he was arrested for this theft. Now, at the same time, Zeke Elliott is punching people at a club. More problems with Zeke Elliott. Whether it be lifting up a shirt for a girl at a parade or whatever, but he's continued to be where there's smoke, fire type of thing. But the Cowboys are convinced that he's not guilty and he's completely innocent. But Lucky Whitehead is a liar in their eyes, and because Lucky Whitehead said, "This isn't me." Turns out whoever did break into his house probably also stole his ID or some sort of identification. They were caught stealing, and they tried to pose as Lucky Whitehead. And the Dallas police come out today and admit that Lucky Whitehead is, in fact, not the guy that was arrested after looking this up. But the man has been cut from the Dallas Cowboys. And so I'm icing up the Dallas Cowboys today.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time that they've been iced up here. But look, And I do want to kind of ice up in many ways the culture that we have created and the immediacy of the internet. And that is, like, you can't even wait to see, where's the due process. And that is, I'm not innocent until proven guilty. And I know that the court of law has different qualifications than maybe the NFL has when it comes to domestic violence or proving some of these things. So what we get here, though, guys, is that there was no attention to due process, and this is so unfortunate. It wasn't even Lucky Whitehead, so he was so unlucky, lost the job, and he probably should be able to sue the. I feel like he should be able to sue the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, it was like 3 weeks ago. I iced up I can't even remember his name, but the linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, who was also in trouble with the law. So, I mean, you think about the Cowboys, all this off-season trouble, and there's probably 5 players that have been in trouble with the law. The one guy they decided to take a stand on, they said, "Hey, enough's enough. Let's go ahead and cut this guy and show the world that we don't put up with that crap." As soon as they do that, it's announced, "Oh, sorry, he wasn't the guy." Sorry. Ice up, Dallas.
Yeah, so ice up to the Dallas Cowboys, and best of luck to Lucky Whitehead. We'll take you in Carolina. Come on over. And actually, he played pretty dang well.
He's a good kick returner.
Yeah, so come on to Carolina, and I hope you get paid. And here's to the police with just checking somebody's library card. And before you charge somebody,
that's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, you can't produce and probably didn't even give him a photo ID. Gave him the dang Harris Teeter card.
Right.
All right, so to you, Dallas Cowboys, ice up. All right, guys, that's the C3 podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night you can find the latest Panthers news and opinions discussed by Panther fans, and you join that conversation. It's been rocking and rolling on YouTube. It's been on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Joe, you going to be back here next Tuesday? And if so, where can they follow you until then?
I will be here next Tuesday, ready and waiting to continue this talk about training camp. In the meantime, if you'd like to drop me a line, please do so on Twitter at Joe Riolano.
Mel Mayock, I heard we might have Max Henson next week, so everybody's going to be excited to tune into that show. Where can they find you, though, until then?
Find me on Twitter at Panthers Drafter anytime. And I'm telling you, Panther Nation, C3 fans, get ready this Friday. Sign up for the best fantasy football league going. The spots are going to go fast, so make your plans now.
You see it on the screen, folks. Share, subscribe, support. We'll see you next Tuesday.